Hello, my loop friends. Welcome to Live Loopers. Today on Live Loopers, we'll be talking about how to create your loops faster so that you can get back to performing and doing the sizzle part of the show and not spend all kinds of unwarranted time on just thinking and making your concentration face and giving the audience an opportunity to get bored, or giving a video audience the opportunity to just click off and go somewhere else. It's a wide world of YouTube out there, and pretty much they say that you have about 8 seconds to capture somebody's attention, give them something worth watching, and then if you succeed in catching their attention and giving them something to watch, then maybe you have 30 seconds to provide them with something else that's going to seal the deal and make them make that decision that, yes, I'm interested in this, and keep going. So today we are going to be talking about making your loops faster. This will apply to um, any kind of looper, whether you are, an all vocal looper, or whether you are a single instrument looper that just loops on, one instrument, or you're a multi-instrumental looper, or any kind of looper. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Very first piece of advice for how to build your loops faster is practice, practice, practice. There's just no escaping. It always comes back to that. If you are interested in building loops faster, you need to practice building loops faster. I definitely needed to practice loops faster. I mean, I'm not super great as it is right now today, but if you look at videos of mine from 6 years ago, just 5 minutes of thinking and I don't know. So about 2 years ago, I made it a mission of mine practice making a loop that I could perform over in 40 seconds or less. I actually have a whole playlist of those just to see an example. Absolutely, if you want to make loops faster, then set a goal, set a time limit, practice making loops faster. Set yourself a reasonable goal. Can you make a bass loop to perform on top of in 2 minutes, say? And if you start hitting that goal consistently, level up. Can you do it in a minute 40? Can you do it in a minute 20? Now, please believe, it is not all only about how fast you can build a loop. I mean, it is very possible to build some absolute garbage in 20 seconds to perform over, and that's still not going to hold anybody's attention. That's a story for a different day. Today we're not talking about how to build the high quality loops, although super important. Today we're talking about how to build the loops quickly. The other reason that you want to practice, practice, practice is because when you are a looper, and it's just you on that stage or in front of that camera, why would you want to look sloppy if you don't have to? Don't spend 60 seconds building a loop and then say oops and then erase it, and then spend another 130 seconds building another loop and then say oops again. Don't do that. The second piece of advice, very carefully consider how much you need to have on each iteration of a loop. And the reason why I phrased it in that specific way is that it goes both ways. You need to be thinking about, are there things that I am spending 4 loop cycles to build that I could be building in 2? And you also need to think about, are there things that would be better if I split them into, am I doing things in 1 loop cycle that I could be getting some benefit out of splitting them into 2? And you think, well, there's no way that could make your loop building any faster, but it actually could. I'm going to give a quick example of each to illustrate what I mean. Let's say that you do a little bit of finger drumming, and you have a bass drum, kick drum thing that you do first, where you go, and then during the second loop cycle, second time around, you do. Now that's cool, but maybe there's room to practice, maybe there's room to simplify. Maybe after getting it down for a while, you can do something stripped down and simpler that you can build in just one loop cycle. Obviously, it has trade-offs, and you have to think, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? But there actually may be gains to be had by breaking things into multiple tracks. All right, now I got a piano sound queued up, and I'm going to do this in 2 loop cycles instead of 1, just to illustrate a possibility to you. I'm going to make a very, very simple first loop cycle. And now I'm going to just layer over that. So yes, playing more music at one time, getting more parts in fewer loop cycles, obviously that helps, and that's a huge way to make your loops faster. If practice can help you play more things at once, or clever compositional tricks, like if you're playing guitar and you can play a bass line on the lower 2 strings while you play a melody line on the higher few strings, and get 2 things done at once, then awesome. Definitely go in that direction and go for that. But if you are playing something and it's tricky and difficult to play, then keep in mind that sometimes you can just have a whole lot fewer oopses if you split it into 2. And that brings me to my third piece of advice, which is know your sounds and have your sounds queued up ahead of time as best you can. Don't do things that are going to make it require a whole lot of fiddling to get to your sounds in between songs. If you can queue up the sounds that you're going to need at the beginning of the next song while you're still performing the previous song, that does a lot to help keep it moving in your... And hey, if you can, get some kind of a mixer so that you can have multiple inputs and some kind of sound that's always ready to go, or have some visual thing, a dance, whatever it is, something that doesn't take up too much of your concentration, but something that can entertain people if you do need a minute to think about your next move. Fourth piece of advice, and this is very important and probably shouldn't have even waited till fourth, but yes, you should put a lot of thought into your song structure. It is not the case that you have to build up all of the pieces of your entire song before you do the vocals, or before you do the sizzling guitar part that, if you have a piece of your song, whether it's the lyrics or whether you're just making a loop bed to play guitar over, you do not have to build every single thing that you're going to need up front. If you're doing a cover song and it's, verse, chorus, and has, a song structure to it, is there a way that you can just build half of what you need to make, the song recognizable in the first verse, and then second verse comes in and you can, add the really distinctive line, the lick that that makes everybody say, oh, that's the part of that song that, that's the melody that I, love so much. And you didn't have to, sometimes you just get it in your head that you have to build that somewhere near the beginning to give everybody that aha moment, but maybe you don't. So think about song structure and where you need to put all the different pieces. And again, as with everything, it's sort of, you just want to measure your effect. If you find that you perform in such a way as people love just sitting and watching the song build up, and that's succeeding and that's working for you and that's getting the results that you really want to have, then don't change anything. But if you need to build loops faster, that is a way that you can definitely get a lot of bang for your buck. is just flipping the song structure around a little bit and maybe not doing so much up front and putting some more on the back end. Okay, here is thing number 5, and this is also super important, but this is not super obvious. Only bring the sounds that you actually need. Don't be making sound soup. Don't be that looper that has filled up 6 tracks worth of stuff, and then you're, listening with your ear and you're like, oh my goodness, there's a little bit of space with no sound. I've got to make another loop to fill that. There is such a thing as negative space and room to breathe, and sometimes, just leave it. Just leave that room to breathe when you are thinking about your compositions. You don't want to fill everything up. And when you are like covering a song, and you in your mind, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I've got to get all of these different parts. All of these parts are part of the song. They hold the song together and make it the wonderful masterpiece that I think it is in my heart, and I need to convey that to the audience.
Yeah, not so sure about that.
It could be the case that you are just spending 2 extra minutes on something that you don't need to be. I mean, in all honesty, you don't need to be. People could love the song with a different arrangement, a stripped down arrangement. There are songs and there are parts in those songs that you could skip. Really, you could. And here is my last suggestion for how to build your loops faster, get more bang for your buck, keep it moving, keep the show going always ever forward, is study your loop gear. Read your manuals, watch videos on the gear that you are using. Whatever loop station, loop pedal, looping app, whatever you are using, study it. Study other loopers who use it. What are they doing? Study people who have success, that are successfully entertaining an audience and making videos that people love to watch, that are using the same gear or pieces of equipment that you're using. How are they building their song structure? What are they doing that could help you? How can you be faster, better, more entertaining? Because it's important. I watch lots and lots of loop videos, believe me that I do, and I love them. Man, do I love everybody who turns that camera onto themselves and takes time and effort to put their personal expression into some loop pedals and loop machinery. I love it. I really love it. But man, some of y'all could do this thing a little faster, or at least with a little more intention behind it. So that was my inspiration for making this video. I hope it helps you. If you know other loop inclined folks, please share it with them. My rap name is Alex. This is Live Loopers. Loop on! Loop on!